Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's a Tuesday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security Studios. We got a good show lineup today. We got good old Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show, and we're going to be joined by Chris Harry from FloridaGators.com. He travels. He's with the basketball team pretty much 24 hours a day. Get his thoughts on the big win over Auburn and the game tonight against the Hogs. The Hogs are rolling into town, and I think the Gators are going to find a way to win this one as well. Just want to give a shout out to Chris Doring Mortgage and his team for sponsoring the Steve Spurrier Award last night that Josh Heupel and Shane Beamer were the recipients of. The tremendous event last night at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Freddie Weeby and his staff did an outstanding job, and glad to be a part of that. So, but now we're going to head to the Titan MR Hotline. And we're joined by Buddy Martin, the host of the Buddy Martin Show. You can hear him Monday through Thursday on Facebook Live about 9 p.m. Eastern Time, the late night sports talk host. Good morning, Buddy. How are you?
Good morning. I'm David Letterman on Sports Talk, right back when you used to have the midnight show. Good morning to you. I wish I could have been with you guys last night. Looks like a really good time, and what a tremendous event. And I think it grew bigger than everybody thought it was going to grow, and it just all came together. So kudos to everybody, including Freddie Weeby and also to Mike Griffith, who's a Bulldog. He and I have had our differences online, but he was the guy who came up with the idea for the first year award for coaches. And it got me thinking a lot about coaches today. So, yeah, that was a nice award, nice start. It's only going to get better, as they say, Shane. You were there. You're looking good at the picture I see with you and Danny and the Townsend boys. And who all was there, by the way?
So it was a picture that you just saw was myself and obviously Danny. That was Johnny and Tommy Townsend. They were there with their parents, who are diehard Gators and support a lot of different events. And Johnny does a lot of great charity work as well. Kevin Carter was there, Judd Davis. Let me see who else. I know Doring obviously was there. Coach was there. Scott Strickland was there. I'm trying to think of what other Doug Johnson was there. I know some other local guys were supposed to be there, but they had, with it being the President's Day, like Cooper Carlisle and Travis McGriff are supposed to be there, but their daughters are, doing that cheer competition or volleyball. Yeah. And with it being a holiday, those tournaments and competitions kind of ran over until Monday. But I thought for the first year it was outstanding. Here's what I will tell you. I mean, obviously, this is a every year award, and they're going to host it at Spurrier's. They're going to probably have to charge more for the tables next year, buddy, just because it was packed in year one, and they can't expand the building. So I guess the only thing they can do is charge more for people to get a table.
I guess so. Well, it's great. Congratulations. And I was thinking about you and thinking about what it must be like for you last night. And I don't want to get too schmaltzy and too over the top Gator stuff, but what a great tradition that you guys have built there. You were from the ground floor on, and Coach was even beyond that. I got thinking last night about Coach Spurrier and talking about great upsets. And you got to remember how far back he goes back to 64 when he almost beat the number one team in the nation. Alabama had him really sort of beat in the amount of time. So he had, in the year before that, Florida had their biggest upset, probably I think of all football of all time. People don't talk about, they beat Bear Bryant in Tuscaloosa in 63. And that was a huge win. And when you go all the way back, and the memories get a little fuzzy, France has to correct me on it, but the history of the school is special, and you are a big part of it. You were like phase 3, and for you to be there last night with your teammates, you passed the torch to Danny and on and on and on, and here we are. So that's that, and it's a perfect place to have it. So congratulations to all. I can't think of the name of the award. I call it the Steve Spurrier first year coach award.
I think that's what it is. It used to be just called like this isn't the first year of the award. It's the first year that they've actually named it
after Steve,
someone, and it's perfect for coach. I think it's the Chris Doring Mortgage Steve Spurrier first year coaches award or whatever. But it was great. That's the first time I ever met. I'd met Shane Beamer when he was on coach's staff back in South Carolina. But first time I met Josh Heupel, got to talk to both of them briefly. You know, it's funny, buddy, when you're getting old. Whenever they're like, "Yeah, man, I really," because Josh was a quarterback. He goes, "Man, I really like watching those Gators when I was growing up and you playing." I'm like, there he is. He's a college. Makes you get real old very, very quick.
Well, listen, you don't know old. I'll tell you about old one day. But anyway, it was that's nice. Congratulations to all those guys for doing that. And it's the perfect place to have it. So it's good heritage to pass along.
Yeah, it was outstanding. So moving along, we'll talk basketball here in a minute, but I've gotten a bunch of Facebook Lives here, buddy, regarding the situation with Juwan Howard and the Michigan coach. The Michigan coach and Greg Gard, the Wisconsin coach. It was an ugly scene. I have my thoughts about it. I don't know if you saw a piece on Tom Izzo was asked. I don't know if it was after his game the other night or what have you, or maybe just at his presser. If you Google it, put it on Twitter, it is phenomenal. Basically, press guy asked him, said, "Should we do away with the handshake line?"
Yeah.
And Izzo goes off. He's like, what about teaching men about accountability? Now they can just leave a school when they want to leave. There's no accountability for anything. Yeah. And, when you get your butt beat, go over there, shake the guy's hand. It's like a 4-minute deal. Yeah. And I thought it was outstanding. I agree with everything Tom Izzo said in his interview. But check that out. But what are your thoughts? Of course
you do, because you're a get off my lawn guy, Shane. That's why you agree with him. And, I'm the old guy here, okay, not you. And I know you don't like any of the new changes. I know. And remember, it's Izzo from Michigan State talking about Michigan. So keep that in mind when you talk about it.
Yeah, but his point, he had nothing. He wasn't even referring to Juwan Howard or those guys.
Yeah, that's where it all started, though. That was the reason. But by the way, it's a pretty good question, I think, that the guy asked him, because
if this is silly. I think it's dumb.
Wait, you may think that, but the question was good because it was on all of our minds, mine included. Maybe it's time to do away with the handshake. I don't say I want to do it. I'm not doing it, but you have to. And I'm not going to adjudicate Juwan Howard. You can take either side. We tend to not like him. He's part of the Fab Four. He's had a record of doing things, so it's easy to demonize the guy because he was wrong. But Greg Gard had a role in this. Let's not forget that. He had a role in it. And I'm not saying – I don't need to say whose fault it was. I think it was despicable for the game. It was awful, whatever transpired. And if I'm the commissioner of all the college sports, I'm going to put a stop to it. And if I have to stop them shaking hands for a year, I'll do it to stop that kind of crap because it's terrible for the sport. Having said all of that, I want to just say one thing, and I'll shut up, that I'm talking and thinking a lot about coaches this week. Coaches under pressure. Coaches who snap. Coaches who've got PTSD after this last 2 years. Guys are living on the edge. And the ones we've seen, and some who have snapped, things have happened that they shouldn't have happened. I can go down the list, including Dan Mullen and maybe even Urban Meyer, of people who kind of the pressure got to them. They did something stupid, And I'm not saying this is the reason Juwan Howard did it, but this is a high-stakes game, and there's a tremendous pressure, and you got to be able to live to fight another day. So, yeah, I think it was terrible. I think Howard probably got the right punishment. He was basically canceled for the rest of the season. They only got
they only got like 2 regular season games left.
Five. They have 5 left. That's all they can do. What are they going to do? Penalize me in the next year? Look, I'm not defending Juwan Howard. Please don't put me in that position. And I hear what you're saying. And you're right. There are a lot of things wrong with college sports. And Izzo's right. There are a lot of things, whatever. And I know we all get frustrated as fans, whatever. But let's look at it introspectively and say, you're a coach. You were a coach. Your dad was a coach. You saw the pressures he was under. You seen Coach Spurrier, who was probably about a cooler cat as there ever was. Even in his final days at South Carolina, it began to get to him. So this is a really rough business right now. Yeah, I know they make $10 million a year. And I talked to Coach about that yesterday. He's on the show, by the way, tonight. So there's a lot going on here with coaches. I agree. I understand it's a polarizing subject. I didn't mean to go off on you, but I think it's a question. Tom Izzo has his point of view. You got yours, and I got mine. We all have our opinions, and probably most of us don't agree on anything.
Yeah, well, I think anyone needs to Google it. I agree 110% with what Tom Izzo. He said it's asinine for them to get rid of that. I agree, because if you can't shake somebody's hand after they beat your ass, you don't need to be, first of all, you don't need to be in charge of a group of men. And second of all, those kids, they need to learn something in life that you ain't going to win every time. There's, like Coach Spurrier used to tell us before every football game, there are going to be good things that happen and bad things that happen, but just keep playing. And then when the clock strikes zero, if you played your tail off, you may come out on the top, you may not, but we're going to play as hard as we can. And I have a problem. I like Juwan Howard. I think it's unacceptable what he did. I don't think
I agree. I agree.
And I if they get rid of it's just another way the NCAA is babying these kids, because buddy, like you said, everybody has their opinion. And even Tom Izzo says in his thing, this is my opinion. It's nobody else's. My opinion is the same as Tom Izzo's, but you need to check it out. I think it was outstanding.
Okay. Good point.
Yeah. Vince says eliminate the handshake. Give me a break. Yeah. That's just the easy way out. And I don't know any other sport that doesn't shake hands. I mean, so I don't. Whatever.
Well, let me say I'm all about that. I believe Jack.
I know you are.
Jack Nicklaus taught us the way a long time ago. He finished second more than any golfer in history. He was always a gentleman. I like that. But I say, as a journalist, it's a good question to ask. When coaches can no longer contain themselves, whatever, you got to look at things like that. Do I like it? No. But I don't like the way they comport themselves. And you see coaches everywhere kind of getting knocked upside the head in the wall, and people stepping away. Like we had another one this week. Obviously, former Ole Miss coach stepped out. Why? Well, you have to, he was an offensive line coach at Georgia. And you wonder about this pressure on these guys. Can they take it, or will they crack? It's a legitimate question.
Yes, we got a text here on the Titan More text line from Ryan. He says, a great night had by all at Spurrier's last night. The HBC even worked in the usual jab at Tennessee, despite Josh Heupel and the Volunteers in attendance. Gotta love him. Only thing missing was Batesy, Brady Ackerman's 1 TD, and JC. Would sure love for Coach Napier to win this award next year, but Lincoln Riley probably has the easiest route in that weak-ass Pac-12. Thanks for the text, Ryan. Good seeing you last night, my man. It was a great night. Buddy, I want to get your thoughts. I said my thoughts on my show yesterday and on your show last night that some of the Gator Twitter family, or whatever they call, Gator fans, so-called Gator fans on Twitter, blasting, saying Florida's better than this, shouldn't be storming a court. I think I don't see one problem with it at all. And I've given my reasons because we just did something that the school has never done in the history of the basketball program, beat a number 2 team at home. The other reason is the kids that stormed the court have no idea about Gator athletics. They couldn't name. They wouldn't even know that one of the starters for the back-to-back national champs sits right in front of them with Mick Hubert calling the games. I guarantee you none of them even know who the hell he is.
No, they don't.
So these people that want to get on their high and almighty that Gators don't do this, we're better than that. You're crazy as hell. Let the kids have fun. And it was a big game, and they deserve to storm the court. That's my 2 cents.
Okay. I can see why they want to kibosh it. I understand the safety issue, but sometimes it's the insurance companies calling the shots, And I'm look, you're gonna tell me, what if Florida beats Kentucky? What's gonna happen?
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm not so really talking about the danger, or
I know you're not.
I'm talking about the perception of these Gator, so-called Gator basketball fans that think somehow they think we're Duke in Kentucky and North Carolina.
I agree.
For some reason.
I
saw this one tweet from this lady that she says it's embarrassing because these kids have no idea about the history of Florida basketball and what Billy Donovan built. Okay, that's fine. That ain't never going to happen again, people. But people need to forget Billy didn't go to the tournament every year either. Billy had some losing records. So anyway, I laugh at some of the tweets. It gives me some enjoyment at times. But I had zero problem with these kids. There was only about a handful of them that even stormed the court.
They didn't get their money's worth, 50,000 for us. They're going to storm it for, they should have got people out there because there's like about 100 people on the court to me.
Yeah, it wasn't many. All right, buddy. So tonight, the Arkansas Razorbacks roll into here. They're a hot basketball team. But I think Florida's going to win the game. Your thoughts?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it that much. I know that extra little oomph of playing in the home sure helped the last 7.5 seconds. What a defensive series it was for Mike White. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I gave him a compliment. But I mean, I can't. I think their star players are playing better. Appleby, if he gets to be a little bit more consistent, and that was a hell of a play he almost made to intercept the ball, which would have ended the game right there, but didn't. But then to come back down and lock down their star, the super best player in college basketball, couldn't get the ball. Franz had a really good column. Can I say something about my man Franz? He does such a tremendous job. He has a column today. We covered virtually everything in Gator stuff going on, from basketball to baseball to softball, whatever. And nobody does it better than Franz Beard. I'm going to brag on him at GatorBaitMedia.com, and he has a really good column today touching on all of that. Talks about your friend Tim Walton. I got a kick out of the Tim Walton bromance he's got with Napier. They've become buddies already, which I love. But anyway, we talked about that. So I think it was a tremendous win. Yeah, you have to stop and think. I had forgotten it was the highest ranked win. I mean, I just didn't think about it. But that's a hell of an accomplishment. Now people are saying, well, yeah, but he still needs to be fired. All right, go pound sand. Okay, I don't want to hear it. But it was a nice win. They got a shot tonight, beating Arkansas. And what if they beat Kentucky? That changes everything. And by the way, I don't think they will. And Kentucky is really, really good. But they got one. They got one the other night they weren't supposed to get. So it makes it interesting again, especially in view of what's happening with the women's basketball program. What a tough loss for Kelly Ray and LSU. Those girls play hard, man. And I love watching them play. And I've talked to people who say, hey, they'd rather watch women's basketball and watch how they play because their whole team is really clued in. Kelly Ray's got the attention of that team, the way she coaches. I'm so excited about having her on the show tonight. We're going to talk to Kelly Ray. Yeah, you tell me you had her on the show. What questions should I ask?
Ask her if she liked being on Pot Up with Matthews in the morning. No, she's outstanding. She's sharp, and I mean, you'll see any question you ask her, she's got a really good answer. We got a Facebook Live here brought to you by Melton Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. John says, if Florida football would have beaten Alabama in the Swamp in September, would it have been okay to storm the field? Hell yes, it is. Here's the thing. Who storms the field? It's your students. You don't see a bunch of grown-ups running on the field. And it's just like what I try to tell people regarding the storming of the court, or so-called storming the court against Auburn. The kids, they have no idea. They see it happen everywhere else. And for the people that talk about, it's embarrassing for Florida to do those type of things. Look, you beat a highly ranked team and you haven't had much success. Doesn't matter what you did 20 years ago. Those kids weren't even born. Those kids, and it's just like I said, buddy, majority of the kids that are in the O'Connell Center as rowdy reptiles and that sit in that student section by the band in the Swamp, A, they didn't grow up Gator fans, and B, they know nothing about the history of Florida football. They're probably from out of state or out of the country. So because the kids that really want to watch the Gators play, they're watching the semis play and they're watching the Knights and the Bulls play on Saturday because they weren't accepted into the school. So there's my 2 cents on that.
Okay. All right. I agree with you. They think Shane Matthews has always been a talk show host.
They wouldn't know who the hell I am. Here's what I'd like to see. The Gator Nation, these people that say these type of things, they don't understand. So, buddy, I think I told you this, or I've said it on my show. When I was helping coach high school football, I had Emmitt Smith talk to the kids. He was in town for something. The only person that knew who Emmitt Smith was out of like 50-something kids on a varsity high school football team was my kid.
Your son,
because he's old.
Yeah, they don't know John Madden coached football either. They think it's always just invented a game.
No, and here's the thing. And if Tim Tebow was not on the SEC network, I guarantee you majority of the kids that are in college wouldn't know who Tim Tebow is because those kids are not.
But you know the deal. But yeah, that's cool. I would like to have it pimped out.
We got a text here from Jim on the Titan MR text line. He says, buddy, give me your thoughts on the Gators starting out 1-2 in baseball.
Well, I listened to the game on Friday night, and Barco was fantastic. Sterling Thompson, who's a really promising Ocala kid. By the way, we call him hashtag Ocala Power Company because they've got the 2 Fabians and as well as Sterling on that squad. But they didn't hit well on the weekend, and I know Liberty is a good team, and I get it. And I understand they threw a lot of young guys out there, but that's not a good look to lose 2 out of 3 of Liberty when you're the number 9 team in the nation talking about going to the World Series. So people tell me not to worry about it. It's okay, but it's not a good look. And I'm sorry they started out that way. But hey, Liberty is good, but Liberty is still Liberty. Liberty ain't Mississippi State.
Well, Mississippi State lost their series to Long Beach State.
Yeah.
So it's there's a lot of parity in college baseball, but people were just blowing up the Titan MR text line yesterday, buddy, about it. That he can recruit, but he can't coach.
No,
blah blah. It's such a long season. I will say this: I think they struck out 30-something times in 3 games. They got to put the bat on the ball, put the ball in play, make the other team make some plays. So
their defense is supposed to be better this year. And supposedly because that was their Achilles heel last year. But they got to get better in the pitching. They got to hit the baseball. They didn't hit. That was Sully talked about it. Generally speaking, he says something about the fact that our older guys got to come through. I'm not sure who he was talking about precisely. But it's a long year. We'll see. But it's not a good look to start out this way.
Yep. So a lot of guys, John says here, Mississippi State and Vanderbilt both lost their series.
Oh, really? Wow.
They're at 1-2. So no time to panic. A lot of good baseball teams are sitting at 1-2 right now. Yeah. I'll take my chances of those 3 teams, Florida, Vandy, and Mississippi State, being in the hunt.
Yeah, I would think so. I'll take them right now against the field for sure.
Yeah, buddy, are you having Kelly on tonight?
Yes, we're taping it this afternoon, and then Coach Spurrier is going to be on also. We'll talk about the award from last night, and we'll. I'm looking forward to that. And this week on our, going to have Chris Story on tomorrow. I want to talk to him about this because the importance of the walk-on program and what he went through with. You were at a walk-on. You might have had to struggle from 6th string to get there, but Dorian was a walk-on. He reminds me he got the crap out of him his first couple of years. And what a great representative he is. Chris will be on. Then later we're going to have a young guy who's a walk-on at Florida. Pellick is his last name, who's going to be our Gator Collective guest with Ben and Friends now on Thursday. We've had every Thursday these shows. There's some terrific people on. Dewan Black was really good, and they've all been good. This is different. We're going to focus on the walk-on. By the way, it's changed. Wasn't it BYU that funded their entire walk-on program through NIL? I think they did, didn't they?
I think you're right. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So, but before we let you go, you and I like to talk golf.
Mm-hmm.
The boys on tour made Riviera look like Ocala Muni.
Yeah.
I mean,
Be careful. That's my home course. That's where I grew
It's
up.
a great golf course. I didn't mean it in a bad way, but good gracious, Riviera is usually very, very tough. And it's just these golf courses are getting too easy for these guys.
They are. Yeah, they really are. There's a business pound on it. They're hitting it so far. I think I heard today, it used to be somebody said they used to hit it 320. Okay. They're hitting it 340 now. I mean, what's next? 400. And who cares where it goes? You know, if you're hitting two, doesn't matter where you are, right? If you're within the earshot of the green, I'm wondering what's going to happen with the Saudi league. It looks like it's imploding from what they're saying now. What we're hearing, Mickelson kind of went out there on a limb a little bit. This is not the first time this has happened. Greg Norman tried to do it years ago when I was in golf and had a World E all playing, whatever. The PGA Tour is a powerful organization. No doubt they need to be governed a little differently. And I know the players like Mickelson don't like the way it's run. This is a little shot at them. There's a couple of guys. DeChambeau said he hadn't have any plans to go at this point in time. Everybody was assuming because he wasn't there, he was going to the Saudi League. He says he's been injured. We'll see. You know, I like DeChambeau. I'm one of the few apparently to do. But, it's going to get interesting. Golf's going to get fun, and I can't wait for the next 6 weeks in Augusta. Always one of my favorite times of the year. And finally, we got the players back again where it belongs in the rotation, the Florida swing, which will be good. So, I'm getting to where I like it. And I just wish I could get the deadgum baseball season going again. I want to see my Rays play a little bit because at nighttime when I'm getting ready for the show, I always watch them. So, I'm not happy about that. I thought for a while we might lose our golf league and our baseball all in 1 year.
Well, I want to do you think, as you mentioned, the technology, how far these guys are just making these golf courses look silly. You know, I'm not an NASCAR guy, but I know at one point they put like restrictor plates and all this kind of stuff on there to slow them down, I think.
Yeah.
What if they made them go back to persimmon woods?
Yeah. Well, that's an old Nicholas argument. He says the golf ball. You could have a standardized golf ball, and you could control the distance by doing it that way. I guess you can always jury rig clubs. I don't know. But Nicholas used to talk about that all the time, about how they need to govern the golf ball changes. So I don't know. I guess you can't keep making golf courses longer.
Well, here's what you can do. You can they can make them longer. But the biggest thing they can do is they can narrow fairways and grow rough.
Yeah, U.S. Open stuff. Yeah.
Yes, just do it every week.
Yeah.
I know those guys will bitch and complain about it, but hey, we want to see you struggle. You shooting 19 under at Riviera is not right. Usually the winner of that is like 10 under.
What are you going to do if they shoot, 60s at Augusta?
They can easily do that. The way that on those par fives there, they're hitting mid irons into the par fives usually. So
hey, listen, they used to say the old days, whoever reaches the par fives in two can win Augusta. They're hitting wedges there now.
That's the entire field now.
I know.
Can do that. What they got to do at Augusta is they have lengthened it, but they don't grow rough.
No, they don't.
For whatever reason, they need to grow the rough. So I'm gonna start.
All right, campaign for it.
Yeah. We need rough in Augusta. All right, buddy. Good stuff as always tonight. You got Kelly Ray and Coach Spurrier.
Coach Spurrier, yes. Today on the program, 9:00.
That's a pretty good show right there.
Read Fran's Beard on Gator Bait. He's really good. He's got some great stuff today.
We'll do that. Let everybody know real quick if they want to. I know you've had a lot of people join Gator Bait recently. How they can do that?
Yeah, just go to GatorBaitMedia.com and click on it. And it'll tell you the various plans we have. And thank you to all those people who've been supporting us. We really appreciate that. We're not a big box company. We sort of an all volunteer army, and our guys get paid very little, if anything. By the way, real quick, I want to be sure I'm really happy about Lauren Meadows doing some stuff for us. He did a good job last night. You got a chance to talk to him. We got an interview coming up with the winner of the gold medal, Aaron Jackson. We've got Bennett Solomon, who's our intern, has an interview set up this week for Gator Bait. And then Dan Bond is going to be doing a piece on gymnastics. So we have other people for going to answer pieces for us. Check us out, GatorBaitMedia.com. Thanks, Shane.
Good stuff. That's Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. Again, you can check his program out on Facebook Live every Monday through Friday about 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to take a time out. We come back. We're talking some little Gator hoops with Chris Herrick from FloridaGators.com. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avera and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration points where the Gators go to celebrate. The premium brands like Nike, Regal Cinemas, Le Macaron, Dave & Buster's, Medici's, Palmetto Moon, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Now serving brunch on Saturday and Sundays. We'll see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. We're going to go to the Titan MR hotline. We're going to be joined by the main man that covers the Florida Gator basketball team, Chris Harry from FloridaGators.com. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Morning, Shane. How are you?
Doing well, Chris. It's crazy, Chris. Yesterday's program and today, I was on Buddy's show last night.
Okay.
It's unbelievable to me. And I love, when I get on Twitter, I love some of your responses to Gator fans. Look, your thoughts. Florida does something they've never done in the history. Ever since they started bouncing a basketball at the University of Florida, they beat the number 2 team in America at home. It's a great win. Kids want to storm the court. I have no problem with it. But you got some of these fans are like, we've stooped that low to, run on the court. I mean, they have no idea what they're talking about. What did you think about it?
Well, I'm not a court storming guy. Okay. Right. So first of all, okay. So it happened. And if you want to call that a storm, it wasn't much of one. And some of the people that are saying, we won championships, whatever they're saying, the kids that stormed the court, a lot of them don't even know who Billy Donovan is. Some.
No, they don't. That's what I said on my show.
and so I'm not going to get into what's frustrating in a lot of ways. And, this has been in a lot of ways the season. It started with so much promise with the 6 straight victories and what have you. There was the disastrous loss to Texas Southern, the followed up the Maryland loss as things are playing out. It was a bad loss then. It's become a worse loss. But if you can't, and here's the Gators on the outside looking into the bubble right now. But if you can't appreciate a win like that and at least say, man, they won a game they really, really needed to, then I can't help you. it's just because Auburn's a damn good team. They have a chance to win the whole thing. They have the number 1 pick probably in the NBA draft. If he's not, I'll be shocked. It's either him or one of those other two, the Holmgren or Bancaro or whatever. But I think Jabari Davis is a fantastic player. Auburn is an excellent team. Bruce Pearl had his way with some pretty good Gator teams back when Billy Donovan was coaching. His Tennessee teams, I think, won 3 out of 4 against the Gators over those 2 years that Florida won back-to-back championships. Mike White's 5-0 against Bruce Pearl at home. He's beaten him when he's number 2. He's beaten him when he's number 4. Beat him when number 4 2 years ago and beat him by 22 points. That was a good win the other day. As far as what it means for March, that has everything to do with how they're going to play tonight against Arkansas. Because if you turn around and lay an egg in an Arkansas game. That you kind of cancel it out, but they could play pretty well tonight against Arkansas and not necessarily win the game. Arkansas is that good. And when I say they're that good on defense. They may be the best defensive team in the conference, and that's really saying something because the Southeastern Conference is the best defensive league in the country right now.
Yeah. When you look at this game, obviously Colin Castleton played really, really well. He matched up. I thought he outplayed the Walker Kessler kid from Auburn.
Second time he's done that. That's
true. Because I think people forget too, we had a chance to win the game in Auburn late. So
it was 4 possessions inside 8 minutes when it was a 1 possession game back at Auburn when they went on a run. Yeah.
So when you look at tonight's game, obviously Arkansas, they've had a really good run here the last couple of weeks. Very hot basketball team, but going on the road in the conference is very difficult. We've seen that. When you look at matchups, because that's what everybody talks about in basketball, it's matchups. How do the Gators match up against the Hogs?
Okay, well, again, I mentioned Arkansas defensively. Well, 4 of the top 12 defenses, according to the KenPom metrics, are in the Southeastern Conference. Arkansas comes in at number 12. I think Auburn or LSU, Auburn, Tennessee are all ahead of them. But in SEC play, Arkansas's numbers are better. And a lot of it starts, they're long and obviously athletic on the perimeter. They're fast. But they're offensively challenged like Florida is, okay? So they hang their hats on defense, and it starts with Jalen Williams, the sophomore 6'10" forward who plays inside, and he stays inside. Get this, Shane. The guy drew 4 charges in the Tennessee game the other day. They held Tennessee to 48 points in that win. I think it was 58-48 game. He's got 41 charge taken this year. So you just played Walker Kessler, who's the number 1 shot blocker. Now you got a guy who's a real disciplined post player inside. I think he was co-SEC player of the week. He had 16 rebounds against Tennessee the other day. Colin Castleton hasn't backed down to anybody. Now, Oscar Tshiebwe has made a lot of centers look bad. Post guys look bad this season at Kentucky. Colin Castleton, I think, would like to have a game back against him. Not that it may turn out differently. That guy's really good. But Colin Castleton needs to challenge Jalen Williams inside. We've seen what Castleton can do with his footwork, with his head fakes. His hands are pretty good when he keeps the ball up above him. I think that's where it all starts. Bottom line is, Shane, I mean, they're going to have to hit some shots. The other day, Tyree Appleby was fantastic with those 26 points, 20 in the second half. He took some crazy shots. Those are shots that he's taken all year. They haven't gone in. 5 out of 10 of them from 3-point range went in. So ultimately, if you look at Florida, the last 2 games they've shot 32%. Okay, that's just it's their second and third, or their first and third worst shooting percentage games, and they're 1-1. And the aggregate scores of the 2 games was 118 to 118. That's because they guarded on the other end. Okay, they defended to a point to give themselves a chance to win. Arkansas is going to do the same thing. However, Arkansas held Tennessee, I think, to 29% shooting in their win the other day and holding them to 48 points. Arkansas shot 30%, and I think was 5 of 24 from 3-point range. So this is good. This could be a brick fest, but who's going to defend better and who's going to capitalize on their opportunities? I think that could be what happens in the O-Dome tonight.
We got a text here on the Titan MR text line, not referring to the Arkansas, but Jimmy wants to know, hey, Chris, love following you on Twitter. Will Jatobo make a full recovery?
Well, he's out for the season. He's obviously.
Well, yeah, I guess he's talking. Will he be able to come back next year?
He has serious eye injury, and it's something that's going to take a while to come. I mean, the only time we see him around is in sunglasses, but I do see he comes in, he's lifting weights. When Jason went sideways the last couple of years is when he got hurt. He had surgery, then the COVID, and he started gaining weight. That has not happened. And I know it's only been a couple weeks, 3 weeks or so, but he's been real diligent. I think he realized how much better he got and how he could be a factor for this program. Will he make a full recovery? I don't think he can say that right now, but like I said, it was a serious eye injury, and they're going to have to check on that down the line.
Chris, how much better? I mean, you've been covering the Gator basketball program for a long time, and I try to tell some of these fans that you hear them. It's the ones that that do not like Mike White, want him fired, and compare him to Billy Donovan.
Mm-hmm.
And what Billy did here will never happen again. I don't think people realize that.
No,
and Billy had some bad basketball teams that had losing records, but the conference is so much more difficult now than it was back then, right?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean,
well, some people don't realize that.
No, they don't realize anything. They don't realize that Billy Donovan went 5 straight years without getting out of the first weekend before he won a national championship. I mean, I had many. I mean, I wasn't here at the time. I was doing the NFL, watching you throw passes. But I knew a lot of Gator fans that said, "Man, it's time to move on." You know, I remember Manhattan. Remember that loss in the first round of the NCAA tournament? Yeah. Never in the game. I mean, they just absolutely got destroyed in a classic 12-5 upset. But I'm Billy Donovan was a generational coach. Okay, he had generational players, and it was a perfect confluence. Those 04s were a little bit of a different breed. You'll never see 5 starters from a national championship team come back when one of them is the first pick in the draft. If Joakim Noah left, he was the first pick in the draft. Remember?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a different conversation. I mean, I would ask those fans, and I know what the answer would be. It'd be some kind of it would be abusive. I know that, but if somehow Florida can get back to the NCAA tournament, it's 5 straight NCAA tournaments. Okay, that's really hard to do at a lot of places, and Mike White can use that resume to roll out and get a job somewhere else if it comes to that. But right now they're locked in on playing Arkansas. They go to Georgia this week, and that's going to be a grind because Georgia does play better at home. They only won 1 game in the league, but other teams have gone in there and struggled. Alabama went in there and lost. Vanderbilt next week is going to be a difficult game. That is by the time that game rolls around, depending on what Vanderbilt does this week, that could be a quad 1 opportunity. Gators need all the quad 1 opportunity they can get, and of course they finish at home on senior day or grad transfer day or whatever you want to call it these days against Kentucky. So there are opportunities left to make that NCAA. So they're not in right now. That game helped bolster a snapshot of their resume. But I would think if you looked right now, they'd still be on the outside looking in.
Yeah, we got a couple of Facebook Lives here brought to you by Meldon Law. John says, Chris, if Florida loses tonight, are they out of the tournament? I think this is our last chance at a quad 1 win because we ain't beating Kentucky. But you just said Vandy could be a quad 1 win.
Well, I think quad 1 is how the NCAA evaluation tool, anything from a team ranked from 1 to 75, if you beat them on the road, that's a quad 1. And 1 through 30, I believe, is a quad 1 at home. 1 through 50 is a quad 1 on a neutral site. So 1 through 75 on the road. And right now, I think I saw Vanderbilt is at 77 right now. So that could be a quad 1 by next week.
And Vandy's been playing much better of late.
Much better. Yeah, absolutely.
Jeff says, when Niles Lane is on the court, we seem to always far outscore the opposition. Is that a coincidence? Just as long as he doesn't shoot any threes, we're okay.
Yeah, they rondoed him the other day. Or Ben Simmons him, however you want to look at it. They just kind of, they gave him like 10 feet. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And, he did as expected. But I mean, he's a hyena on the defensive end of the floor. And that's true that you look at his plus minus, and he's in an incredible place with that statistic, given the lack of playing time that he had until they threw him in there after that disastrous. I think it was the first half of the Oklahoma State game. He will defend, and you give him a lot of credit, and you give him credit also for embracing his role. I mean, he had to shoot a couple of those shots; he was so open. But at the same time, I think sometimes those numbers, the plus minus isn't a be all end all number because it has to do with who you're playing with at the time. And he played mostly in the first half the other day, and I think Florida at one point was up 8 points in the first half of that game. So that helps with that plus minus kind of 8 points in the first half, I think. So that kind of helps with plus minus sometimes. Anthony Druzy was a plus 16, and he only had 3 points in the game.
Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. A few more minutes here with Chris Harry from FloridaGators.com. Dan asked on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mental Law, any news on Kelly Ray's contract on being the permanent coach?
Let's let that play out. You said you had her on the show last week, correct?
Yes, she's awesome.
Did you ask her about it?
I did. She was on for about 30 minutes. We had a bunch of people ask questions. Nobody asked that, but right before I ended the show, I said, you know what? I have to ask. All this being they said, we're just going to worry about what we can control right now. She gave the company line, but basically, I mean, look, why even worry about it right now? Things are going well. Just make her the permanent coach when the season's over.
My answer to that would have been, she's not talking about it. And I understand that it's a popular, and it's funny now. You talk about fans. You didn't hear fans screaming and yelling about when the Florida women's basketball team was 8-23 a couple years ago.
No.
Why are we doing something about these women? What was it now that they're winning? Like, why aren't we fired? Why aren't we hiring her? Like, it's just the nature of the beast. And I think everyone knows that the job that she's done, and this woman could win national coach there, not SEC coach there. She could win national coach there. And that would be some kind of achievement for a program that has really, been, to say under the radar wouldn't do it justice. Just she's really given a shot in the arm to these ladies. Good for them.
Yeah, it's been outstanding to watch. Okay, so Hogs come in tonight. Just what do the Gators have to do? I mean, you talked about it's going to be a defensive struggle on both ends of the court. What we just got to make shots to win, right? It's very simple.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you've seen so many games where they've been just a bad half and then, a good half. If you're going to have a bad half, make them have a bad half too. Because this team, it's the Gators are what the Gators are going to be. They're good. They're not a great offensive team. As long as they play hard on defense, I think they can stay in the game. But you do have to make shots. I mean, Brandon McKissick made a big three the other day. He was shooting 18% from 3-point line in SEC play when he made that shot. Bland Fleming is under 30% from the 3-point line. Anthony DeRugi is down around under 25% from the 3-point line in the last, I want to say, maybe an SEC player or the last, I don't say 12 games or something like that. These guys are better than that because you see it. You see it every day. Kwesi Reeves has kind of fallen back a little bit. Maybe that's a freshman kind of wall sometimes that comes along. He is limited also on the defensive end and as far as rebounding. Florida is not a great rebounding team, especially when Colin Castleton's not at the game. So they just have to play. They have to play to their identity. They talk all the time. Defense is our identity. If they play hard, chase 50-50 balls, dive on the floor, get the energy going in the O-Dome, get the energy going among themselves when they're on the court, I think they'll be in the game. And if you're in the game, you got a chance to win. And then comes the shot making kind of stuff. And, I like Tyree Appleby when he's driving and getting to the free throw line. And, Myron Jones is shooting the ball a lot better. So you don't know who it's going to be, but obviously it needs to be somebody, but it has to start on the defensive side.
Yep. Last thing before we let you go here, Brian says on Facebook Live, she could win National Coach of the Year and be the hottest free agent coach in women's NCAA history. That's why the fans want to know. Real quick, before we let you go, John wants to get your take on the Juwan Howard situation.
My take, well, I mean, as soon as I saw that, I said, I mean, that's something a guy could easily lose his job over.
Yeah.
I mean, you are in charge of your basketball program and you're taking swings at an assistant coach. I mean, I did see something. Did you know, like, I don't know if it was they were beating Indiana, I think by 16. I don't know when they played, but I saw something on Twitter with 55 seconds left and Indiana was pressing and Juwan Howard called a timeout. That wasn't that long ago. So, I mean, totally uncalled for. I was surprised it took him as long as it did to do his mea culpa after he got his suspension. But he's a different breed. This is a guy, 15-year NBA veteran kind of thing, and maybe just think a little differently when it's along those lines.
Yeah, Chris, good stuff as always, my man. We'll be following you tonight during the game. Hopefully, the Gators. I think they're going to win tonight. So we appreciate you taking the time to join the program.
You've been pretty good with your predictions, Shane.
Yeah, I said we were going to beat Auburn. And you thought I was crazy. All right, that's Chris Harry. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. We're going to take our final time out. We'll come back and wrap up this Tuesday edition.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Wrap Spot, Okido America, Style Cuts, Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security Systems Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. South State Bank, we understand that small businesses need a community business partner they can rely on. South State has 4 convenient Alachua County locations. South State Bank, banking forward, member FDIC. I want to thank Buddy Martin and Chris Harry join us on the Titan MR hotline. Real quick, this day in sports brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Give Comfort Temp a call if you got any heating or air issues, 352-376-2366. This day in sports, back in 1893, the first Iron Bowl between Auburn and Alabama. Auburn beats Alabama 32-22 in Birmingham. That was in 1893. Brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Gators play tonight, 7 o'clock, the O'Connell Center. Big game. I think Florida finds a way to win this game. And hope y'all enjoyed having Buddy and Chris Harry. Love having Chris on. He's with this basketball team nonstop. He'll be at their shoot around. Follow him on Twitter. He does a tremendous job. Hope you enjoy today's program. Tomorrow, we'll have JC. We'll do our golf picks, our Peachland Dental golf picks. We'll also have Wednesdays. I can't ever remember it. What is it? Wednesday's Weekly Word with Wit. He's got Jaquavian Frazier's on. Should be good stuff. So hope you guys enjoyed the program. Today's show's a wrap, brought to you by Wrap Spot. See you tomorrow.